Hey everyone, we're here for Moonwalk Mars Part 2. No one's here. Oh, here's some people. Hey, hi, hey. Hello everyone. Hi Lily. So we're gonna take questions during this one. The after party, yes. That's what I'm gonna call this video. Bye, Bran. Credit to you. I'm gonna call it the after party. Okay, Mars is here, guest of honor. Okay, go live. Waiting for. We're calling this the after party. So Bye Brand said the after party, and that's what we're calling this.
Love that. The after party.
So, upon this part 2 before or instead of the part 1, Mars and I were talking about our involvement in the Free Britney movement. We talked a little bit about the Britney's Project Rose story and just a bunch of stuff, kind of conspiracy world meets legal document world. But I did want to say too, something I didn't mention last time, Mars, was my original kind of thought of how I was going to be, and I've said this like in interviews with other people, my original thought of how I was going to be involved was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find these legal documents, and then these really brilliant like Gen Z kids are going to tear them apart, and they're going to be able to free Britney. And I never really thought like I would be like people would even really know like my favorite. Like I really thought like my biggest hope and dream is that like Moonwalk Mars or like Baldiati like come across one of my videos, share it, and then people can find all these documents.
It's so funny because me and her are friends. Like we become friends.
Please tell her when she was doing that Howie Mandel, I don't even like conspiracy theories. Every night I was like pulling my boyfriend. I was like, we have to see if Baldiati made a video about, like, I was so obsessed with her. You have to tell her I'm her biggest.
I will. I promise I will. But she's great. She's wonderful.
Yeah,
her personality is wonderful too.
She's so funny. She's so efficient with getting her point across. She's like, I think she's going to be a great, I think I saw she wants to be like some type of human rights lawyer or a lawyer of some type.
She should.
She's going to kill it if that's what she wants to do. She's going to kill it if she wants to do anything, but I really could see her like killing it in like a trial room, like closing statement, like argument. Like
I agree. But what I was going to say is I think that your involvement has evolved so much, and I'm super grateful for you. Actually, I'm super proud of you for being able to build your own platform, because obviously outside of social media you are successful. You have achieved a lot in your own personal life that has nothing to do with social media. But I think that this is like the icing on the cake for you, and I think it is kind of created a new way, especially with COVID, for you to be able to express what you love and what you're passionate about in a way that people can see. The other thing I was going to say is I think that there's this really huge criticism with Britney's appearance. And I wanted to quickly address that because people are so quick to talk about the way that Britney looks. Well, all I'm going to say about that is, Britney doesn't have access to Dr. Miami to do touch-ups on her Botox or her filler. I think that I'm from an aesthetics perspective. I think some people, I don't have anything done, but I am very interested in that kind of field, and I would like to, but people don't realize that when you invest in aesthetics, when you invest in lip filler, when you invest in Botox, when you invest in under eye filler and things like that, those are things that have to be maintained. Do you get what I mean? Those are things that have it usually takes about 8 to 12 months for dermal filler to dissolve, or 8 to 14 if you're really lucky, depending on your genetics. And at that point, you have to get them redone. When you get a dental bond piece, when you get veneers, those things have to be maintained. There's upkeep and expenses that go into that. I mean, Kim Kardashian,
Mars, like every single person wakes up looking like that. Like Britney Spears,
exactly.
You to go on Instagram without a filter, and people want to be concerned about it.
That's the reason why I'm discussing it. I'm not discussing it in a way that's derogatory or disrespectful by any means. What I'm saying is I think I'm counteracting that, because what I'm trying to say is that Britney doesn't have access to that sort of budget. Why do you think that she's been given Invisalign and not gone to a doctor and a cosmetic dentist to get her dental bond piece that's broken fixed? Do you get what I mean? I don't think that Britney by any means looks bad, but people are criticizing her appearance because of how different she looks. Do you get what I mean? And I think that it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that she has had things done by her own volition. She's had certain things done by her own volition because that's what she wants, and it's okay for a woman to want to take care of herself or to do things or minor things. But in order to do that, in order to maintain that, you have to be given the budget to be able to allow that to happen. And she has an A. And B, she's not out here with Makeup by Mario doing her makeup and Chris Appleton doing her hair every day. She doesn't have in-house photographers that are her own personal photographers that come to her house with specific lighting, and people who come to their house, and she spends $1,000 on a spray tan every week. Do you get what I mean? These are things that celebrities do. And if Britney Spears still lived in Kentwood, Louisiana, she would be the most beautiful in her town, period. Because she looks like a real 38-year-old woman who is a extremely beautiful woman. Just because she's under duress, just because she's being mistreated or abused, that doesn't mean that you can't see her natural beauty shine through. However, she's not in a place, she's not in an environment where that is tolerated or that is allowed. She's held to this higher standard, and that's why there's so much criticism that's unfair. And in order to
people actually asking a question that's on point here, they're asking, well, we think that, Britney has gotten something like even if it's just cosmetic stuff done since her conservatorship. And what are the rules about, like, does she have to consent to that? From what I understand, her medical team and her conservator of the person have to consent on her behalf to medical procedures. So that's another hurdling block in the middle of, if she has to get a whole team to consent some Botox, that's another reason she can't just go out and just get it, right?
Exactly. Or it's another reason why she may have been subjected to things that maybe she doesn't want done, or which is why we've seen with the Reddit account that she was speaking about being scared about a serious cosmetic procedure, which I was told was actually to be not only a facelift. They want to give her a facelift, which actually I've seen, and plastic surgeons have said a lot. People are getting facelifts a lot younger and younger because it's the key to look natural and not look like you've been swept through a wind tunnel. So that's not the most outrageous thing to happen at 38 years old, especially with lots of damage from medication and sun damage. But the second one was the scariest thing, which was that my sources actually said that, and I'm not, allegedly, the other procedure they wanted her to undergo was on her vocal cords, which I thought was very interesting, kind of like a vocal cord rejuvenation surgery, similar to what killed Joan Rivers. She died during that surgery. But what I'm saying is that makes a lot of sense, because when you're forced to sing in an unnatural tone that strains your vocal cords for 20 years, you're going to have vocal damage. There's two outcomes of that. Either she could have been left speechless, literally botched purposefully. She could just go under anesthesia and not wake up, or she could, be repaired, and then she's that moneymaker again. Do you get what I mean? They've had issues with.
We have actually, I don't know, you follow Lisa McCarley?
I don't.
Okay, so she's amazing. Follow her for sure. But she's a lawyer who's worked in the California probate system where Britney's conservatorship is for, I think 25 years. She said that the conservator of the person has to sign the consent. And she said that, let me make sure I'm quoting you, Lisa, they cannot force surgery on her, is what a life lawyer from that exact system and works in that thing says. So legally they can't, but that's assuming they do everything legally, right, Lisa? So,
and not only that, but it's also assuming that she understands those legal rights.
Well, they can't force her to, but she also isn't the one that signs a consent, right? It would
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But what I was saying is that that's not going to happen.
Questions for Mars particularly? Let's see. I want to make sure, because we promised people we would answer questions in this one. So yeah, y'all aren't even asking questions, so I don't feel that bad. Okay, Lisa.
But I was going to say they're not going to do that anyways at this point. This was supposed to happen before her trial, or this was, talked about before her trial, but because of all the public scrutiny that's happened since then, that would be a very unwise move. It would be a complete misstep. So that's just not going to happen.
Asking you, Scented Sen says, why won't they give her money to have dental work? It isn't about the money, right? It's like they're not letting her go. that what you were saying?
Well, it's both. So she has an $87,000 a year personal budget, and so that covers her every personal expense, everything that she wants. I mean, that's why she. I mean, obviously, we know that she's a very down to earth person. She's the type of person that she does enjoy. She doesn't always have to have expensive clothes, but she's still a international pop star that's worth over $200 million reportedly. So it's really sad that Britney Spears has to come on camera and say that her biggest dream is to have a designer or a closet full of designer clothes. But she's not allowed, she has to conserve her budget wisely for the entire year of things she wants to spend on herself. And I don't think that, I think that also because she's refusing to work, that her cosmetic appearance is not their biggest concern. I think it might be almost some sort of a punishment. I don't personally believe that Britney has been forced to undergo any sort of cosmetic or plastic surgery against her will or under duress. There is a quote from her directly saying that she's never liked the way that her nose looked. So she has undergone, I believe, 2 or 3 rhinoplasties. But as far as basic maintenance, like we've seen Britney have lip filler. She's actually made a statement that's talked about, says, I have a certain surgeon. I believe, and that's another thing that's concerning to me. She's had the same surgeon, which is actually a pretty well-known surgeon, a public surgeon, for like the last 7, 8 years, 8, 9 years. It's been the same person who's done this. And I think that the reason why that's concerning to me is when you're in the aesthetics community, you understand that most surgeons and most estheticians that work on celebrities, like real, like I'm talking about A-class celebrities, they are not known by the public at all. You will never know their name. You will never know their practice because these are people who, they only work on celebrities. They are paid double or sometimes even triple the amount that we would pay for a procedure. And it's a very specific type of doctor. So it's a little bit concerning to me. We've seen sort of it to someone who's experienced with it, it looks like it's an untrained or unexperienced application of cosmetic procedures to her lips, to her brows, and her cheek area. I think it's been very ill-advised, and it would kind of concern me. She said that her doctor plays with her sometimes, like it just kind of like they just kind of play around and like experiment sometimes, and your doctor shouldn't be using you as a guinea pig. But I just think that it's just a little odd. I don't think she's been forced to do things, but I also don't think it's been of quality, and I don't think she's being given the budget or the space to go anywhere to get anything done. That's my final answer.
Well, when I'm ready to get my forehead done, it's going to be pretty soon because I said I was waiting till I was 30. I'll just hit you up and you can help me do some because sounds like you know what you're talking about. So
I know, literally, like have so many things on my list. I have so many things on my list, like things I want to do. Like I'm like, I want to do all these things, but no, it's just very strange to see. I just think that unfortunately her physical appearance to the general public is a reflection of her personal deterioration and the mistreatment that she has sort of been given over the last 10 years. But yeah, do you have any questions?
I'm going to say, need it. I want it. I need very little, but there's lots that I want.
Exactly. I think that's something that people don't realize is that we don't always do things because other people tell us we should, but because we want to. It makes us feel better, and that's okay.
I know. I don't think I need it. I agree, Miss Protector, but it's kind of like, preventative, as they say.
I do agree with that. That's something people don't always realize is that people are using cosmetic procedures as preventative measures instead of responsive or reactive measures at this point. Question says, is Sam really on payroll and how much does he get paid? So obviously we don't have any hard evidence that I can give you right now legally and not get torn apart that he is not paid. Like I said, I mean, with David Lucado, Britney's ex-boyfriend, he actually made a public statement that said, I want to marry Britney. I want to, really have a long-term relationship with her, but I won't do that, A, until her residency ends, and B, until her conservatorship is lifted. And from that point on, he was reportedly not allowed to speak to her or directly contact her again. And I'm
smiling at what you're saying. I just want people to know, like, I'm not a complete psych. Like, I'm reading comments.
I know.
So I'm not smiling at this horrible stuff. Like, I just don't want people to be like, this bitch is a sadist. Like,
No. And so I think that speaks a lot to the amount of control and direct influence that Britney's team and people around her that have.
And like, here's another thing too, and this might be a little controversial, but you know what? It's the Moonwalk Mars after party, so I'm gonna say it. Let's pretend Sam is like a paid boyfriend.
Okay.
Let's just for fun for 5 seconds. I don't care. How many people have paid girlfriends? Why do I care? If it makes Britney happy, she's clearly happy, allegedly, according to lots of people. So if he is in fact very nice to her and all of that, like, our whole movement is about the fact that Britney Spears should be allowed to do what she wants with her money. And let's just pretend she has a paid boyfriend. Okay, well, that goes right along with what we are advocating for. So, like, so what if he's getting paid? Like, you can be paid and still have a relationship. I don't want that kind of relationship. But at the end of the day, I think, like, focusing on is Sam getting paid without focusing on is he making her happy is a moot point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just want to interrupt really quickly. I do want to note that our celebrity guest, our third celebrity guest, not G Happen, the account is here trolling us.
E, how are you, girl?
Trolling us. Lou is here.
I'm not alleged that account is Lou, but hi.
But, hi.
See you.
I got a message. We got a message that says, it says, another gay demon, shaking my head. Britney is beautiful as is. Worry about your own identity crisis. We love that.
That's what we're saying. She is beautiful. She can do what she wants.
She is. That's what I'm saying. But anyways, we shouldn't focus on Sam.
Let me just make a statement. Don't come in my inbox. You will regret it. You will never, ever do it again. And you will not have access to my content anymore. So that's the most.
Lou Taylor is so mad right now. Just kidding. But no. I don't think we should focus on Sam until he starts speaking out. And he's not going to anytime soon. He doesn't have the ability to. That's not an option.
Videos the other day.
What'd you say?
Sam liked one of my videos.
About what?
Yes, he liked the one. I don't know, like you're not really on Twitter that much, right? Like
I'm on Twitter, but I hate Twitter because it's super toxic, so I don't really check replies or like go through my feed. I just like post and go. You know what I mean?
No, totally. So it's a video about, there was this like one Twitter troll that like worked for Sony Music, like very obvious troll, right? And he was kind of saying like, I heard Britney has bipolar disorder, and if you had bipolar disorder, your family would be right to step in. And I basically made a 60-second video dragging him from one side of Twitter to the other side. I posted it on TikTok. I posted it on Instagram. I just posted everywhere with his name. And then he just like disappeared. I made 2 videos about him. But this particular video was me kind of saying like, Britney has the right to refuse medication. Like, this isn't how the law works. This isn't how ethics and morality work. You don't get to force someone to take medicine because they have a disorder. Like, and then I mentioned Kanye West not being in a conservatorship, despite the fact that he has said on multiple occasions he refuses to take his medicine.
And not only that, but also he's made arguably, from an objective perspective, he's made very, very irresponsible decisions as a direct result of his bipolar disorder, and yet he hasn't been put under a conservatorship along with other celebrities as well. But yeah.
That's right. So it was like basically that video. You can go and like find it's like not that far away. I'm on TikTok too. But yeah, basically Sam like liked that video. I didn't know, like someone sent me a DM like in my like other box, and I opened it and it's like, do you know that Sam Asghari liked your video? And then she sent me a picture and I was like, this is fake. Like she photoshopped this. So I went to the post, and sure enough, he did like it. And then I was like, I sent it to like 2 people and I was like, don't share. And then like 5 seconds later, it's all over Twitter. But it was fine. Like whatever. It's a public, like anyone could look it up. I don't know.
No, but I do think that's very interesting. I think we've seen a lot of behavior similar to that with Britney's kids and her mom as well, with liking certain posts, not necessarily speaking out directly because they can't, but just liking certain things as a kind of subtle show of support.
Yeah, and people are mentioning too, like bipolar is really common. Like imagine if someone with bipolar, even if it was like bad, whatever that even means.
My father has bipolar disorder.
Why, like, we got to put all them under a conservative? Like, that's just unreasonable to make the conclusion that a conservatorship is necessary because of a condition 3 million people have in the country.
Yeah, I just think it's unfair, and I just think that it's irresponsible and reckless for them to put someone under a conservatorship there should be a certain amount. I think this is important as well because it opens up a conversation about mental health and it also opens up a conversation about mental disability and disorders. And I think that it's unfair the way that the current court system is set up when it comes to putting someone under conservatorship. I think there should be a lot more constituents on that. There are a lot of people that say that conservatorships.
Oh, real oversight. Now that we're seeing these abuses, it's like, who do we report this to do an investigation? Like the FBI? Like, it seems like there needs to be some kind of oversight. And I think that actually Lisa McCarley, who maybe is still here, maybe isn't, but the lawyer who I told you about earlier, she has actually written a letter to the Attorney General, and she also put up like a form letter. And one of the things that she proposes is kind of some mechanism, right, to look into this kind of stuff. And I think that's really important. And it seems like it would make sense. I can't believe that hasn't already happened. But someone asked you, what do you think about Jamie Spears in the comments?
Hold on. Just give me 1 second to think about how I'm going to respond to this.
Please take your time. I'm going to look through I'm just going to comments about bipolar until you're ready.
Well, yeah. Well, Mariah, this episode of Mariah Carey does have bipolar disorder as well.
Gomez, Timo Spears, a lot of people. And so did the lady who played Princess Leia. Her name escapes me.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
But, okay, so I've kind of gathered my thoughts about Jamie Lynn, what I want to say. People are putting turtle emojis for Jamie Lynn Spears because there was a meme that was created. Huh?
What's the turtle emoji thing? I don't.
Hold on, I'll show you.
Okay.
It's a joke because people say that Jamie Lynn Spears looks like Franklin the Turtle. Franklin the Turtle.
Over you. Go ahead.
I was saying people say that Jamie Lynn Spears looks like Franklin the Turtle, so it's a meme. So that's why people are putting the turtle emoji, because that's basically, if people don't want to directly mention, I'll show you. The kids cartoon.
No, that turtle's chin is nowhere near long enough.
I just think it's so people don't want to directly mention her. They use the turtle emoji. But yeah, so basically my opinion on Jamie Lynn Spears, in the most respectful way possible, I just don't think that, and I think this about Jamie, her father as well, and Brian, honestly, I just don't think that they are necessarily the brightest tools in the shed. I don't think that they're necessarily the most educated intellectual people in the world. I think that both Jamie Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears are easily manipulated, and I do believe that both of them are gullible human beings. I think that Jamie Spears was a little bit roped into this sort of conservatorship to begin with by Lou Taylor, and obviously he's a grown man and is able to make his own decisions, but I do think that he was manipulated. And I think that Jamie Lynn Spears
it's interesting that, I don't want to make it, listen, lots of my family members are equally educated as Jamie Spears, and they're wonderful people, and, they're not abusers. But I do think pointing to the education, Mars, is important because Britney was deemed with almost no medical evaluation, incompetent to exercise her Sixth Amendment right to hire her own attorney. Her attorney was kicked out the courtroom on what? We don't know. But Jamie Spears, I don't know if he had to be screened for anything to take over all of her money.
Not only that, but Jamie Spears has a history of alcoholism and abuse, and has actually been to rehab for alcoholism previously, 2 years before Britney was institutionalized and put under the conservatorship. So I just think it's very weird that a person with a history of alcoholism and abuse, without any sort of, once again, screening or approval, had been given this sort of authority. And even following the physical altercation that occurred between Jamie and Britney's children, he was still allowed to continue without any sort of kind of reprimand. There was no reprimand for that. And he was even to the extent of having a personal restraining order filed against him, that was not considered in the next court hearing following that.
That LBBH Picks said both Jamie and JL have pulled knives on people.
Yeah, so have you seen the video of Jamie Lynn? Did you see that? That was wild. Of Jamie Lynn pulling this big, steak knife out, and the kitchen knife, and waving it around. That was very odd for me.
Unhinged.
She's also Britney's trustee, which is motive. Just saying. It is
Yeah, she's sole trustee of the SJB Revocable Trust. And upon Britney's death, she is going to be responsible for administering the trust accordingly. And as it sits right now, that means depositing the entire contents of the trust into
Uh,
another,
Sean,
which is weird. And I mean, not that weird. I don't want to make people like,
no, I get it.
it's like pretty like common probably. But I mean, it is interesting too, the timeline of putting Jamie. I don't know what to think about Jamie Lynn. Like every time I get good and mad at her, people are like, "Oh, don't be mean to Britney's family," and I'm like,
No, but here's the thing. So not only that, but I'm almost positive isn't Jamie Spears the executor for her estate if she passes away?
I have no idea. I would assume it would be whoever's
I I
there.
think I think Jamie Spears is her executor. But on top of that, what's interesting about Jamie Lynn Spears is that why wasn't Jamie Lynn Spears put under a conservatorship or given any sort of reprimand as far as like spiraling out of control? I mean, she was on a children's television show and got pregnant at 14 years old, which obviously I'm not saying that teen pregnancy is the most horrible thing, but what I'm saying is that usually there is some sort of consequence for normal children who live
Well,
in everyday life.
the answer to that is conservatorships are often, if you watch that Guardian, whatever Inc., conservatorships are often motivated by money. I mean, you have to have something to conserve. And I'm not sure that Amy, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. I don't know.
No.
I
What
don't
you're
have
about to say, what you're about to say is literally my opinion. People were like really mad at me about it, but I was literally saying, I was like, people were like, why was Jamie Lynn never attempted to be put under a conservatorship? I said, because Jamie Lynn Spears was never mounted or prospected to be at the level of superstardom that her older sister reached. It was never meant to be that way, regardless of what TV show she was on. I don't think it would have been beneficial for anyone to put her under a conservatorship because she wouldn't have been contributing anything of value. And that sounds really bad, but because obviously every person
can't afford a conservatorship of this, like there just isn't financially worth it. Like the whole point of conserving an estate is to keep the money, which I don't think, from what I've looked into the financials, the conservatorship is actually doing a very good job of keeping money. But anyway,
well, Britney's official net worth is only $59 million, and she's made over $1 billion in fragrance sales alone. So
I know.
it's just very, very interesting that there's no kind of record of where this money is or how much exactly there is. I also think it's really interesting that Brian Spears said verbatim, this conservatorship has been very beneficial for my family. He said that. He literally said,
TV interview or whatever.
it was the podcast interview he did. Brian Spears. He said that this conservatorship has been very beneficial for our family. He said they said here that his exact words were good for everyone. It's been good for everyone. But I believe he said something about his family as well, if I'm not mistaken. But it just is very odd to me. I don't know. I just so blatant. I just think it's so blatant at this point. And Jamie Lynn Spears is someone who has been continuously praised by her other family members, including her brother, her mother. Actually, I don't think about it. Her mother has had less to say publicly about Jamie Lynn than she does about Britney. But I think that both Jamie and Brian have both been super, super, super publicly supportive of Jamie Lynn and not so much of Britney. Brian spent 30 minutes on the podcast bragging about her.
This is just drama at this point. Did you see how rude Jamie Lynn was in regards to the 10% of people who did not want to see her and Lynn do a facial video? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that, but I did see Jamie Lynn. I did see Jamie Lynn limiting her comments on Instagram and not allowing anyone to comment on her Instagram posts. And I thought it was really interesting that she posted about bipolar awareness, and then Lou Taylor reposted that exact post. And it's almost like they're painting themselves as these saint figures, like almost like these rescuer hero types, because it's like, you guys have you should leave my sister alone, she's so strong, but you don't have no idea how hard it is to live with someone who has bipolar disorder and how difficult it can be. And so they're like basically painting themselves as these heroes that
like
I just
victims like of Britney Spears bipolar disorder.
yeah, you're like you're a victim of Britney's mental disability.
Then go away from her and leave her alone. How about?
I just think I think that Britney has been groomed from young childhood to be in the spotlight. I I also think that I think that she enjoyed it. I think that's what she wanted, but I think that she's been manipulated and has been controlled in a way that she didn't want from the beginning of her career as well. I think if anybody's ever had her best interest in mind, it's been her mom. No parent's a perfect parent, but when you're put under the situation where you're being told that your daughter is spiraling out of control and has an extreme mental disability, you're going to have to make a fast decision within that. I think they gave her, 2 days to try to make a decision about signing off on the conservatorship or whatever it was. And so Lynn did speak out in favor of the conservatorship at the beginning, because not only was she worried about her daughter's well-being, especially from the description she was being given, but she was also under the impression that it would be entirely temporary. So
Yeah.
It's just odd to kind of say, Felicia Culata and Lynn Spears both were in support of the conservatorship and didn't think Britney could take care of herself. You have to keep in mind these people were being manipulated and influenced as well, and they also both were under the impression that the conservatorship would be temporary.
Someone said, haven't you guys Lou Taylor pink hats? No. Yeah, I mean, I kind of heard about it, but
I didn't.
All of those emails and everything, it's so crazy because you know that it got leaked, like Sam Lefty, and I'm not like a Sam stan before y'all come for me, but
me neither, but I get what you're saying.
He served her with a cease and desist for those aggressive comments that she had made on Instagram. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so you know those comments, like I think it was I don't know, she's hi, I'm Tati on Twitter, and it's like dismantle the matrix on Instagram. She had posted something that kind of referenced those emails, and then she says in her comment of it, like the caption, she's like, the emails are alleged, they haven't been confirmed, right? She gives all the disclaimer, right? Lou Taylor comments on that Instagram post and says, like, didn't you know that Sam Lufty admitted to writing those emails? They're fake.
Oh, no, I did see that. I saw those, yes.
So allegedly, Sam Lufty served her with a cease and desist for those comments for defamation, and those comments, not allegedly, in fact, are deleted now.
That's very interesting. In order to sue someone for defamation, obviously, maybe I'm wrong, but don't you have to be able to prove that it's not true, or you have to say, like, hey, this isn't true, in order for that to go through?
It has to be a false statement. Yeah. So
interesting.
In order to be defamatory, it necessarily must be false. And I've made a TikTok on this. True statements can never, ever be defamatory or defamation, ever. If what you're saying is true, maybe if you're leaking someone's, social security number and their private citizen, crazy like that, maybe you can get sued for invasion of privacy or something. But defamation, by definition, has to be a false statement. So if your statement isn't false, according to the law in every jurisdiction, it cannot be defamation. So I don't know why she would delete a true statement, but
exactly.
Defamation.
I also think it's really odd. People have been on this really weird Jordan Miller bandwagon recently, like super, like hardcore breathe heavy stands, basically. And I was just very weirded out by that because Jordan Miller has a history of censorship on his website, and I witnessed some of it firsthand again recently when I rejoined the website, tried to reconnect with some people, and I made a joke. It was like a joke thread about, like, who's going to jail first? Like, who do you think is going to jail first? And it was like a poll, like, list of like everyone on Britney's team, and it was locked. The thread was deleted, and it was a message directly from Jordan that said that this was extremely disrespectful and that I needed to do better next time. But it wasn't the only comment that I had seen like that, because I had seen lots of people's comments and lots of people's threads be locked for speaking negatively about Lou Taylor and the conservatorship. So you can say, like, this conservatorship is bad and we should free Britney, but if there's something specifically targeting someone who's involved with it, then that thread is locked. And Jordan Miller has vehemently denied this.
Do you think it's possible he's scared to, like, get sued? I don't know Jordan.
No. So let me tell you what happened. So basically he was sued. Jordan Miller was sued.
I knew that.
So I have seen an excerpt from the agreement that was signed. They reached a settlement, basically. And basically, in order to continue the website, he would have to rebrand the website as not just a Britney Spears website, but as a pop culture website, which did happen. And there would have to be some sort of moderation and censorship when it comes to moving forward in exchange for exclusives. So if you see, Breathe Heavy has been the first to release random exclusive that no one asked for about Lou Taylor, about Justin Tranter, a writer for Britney's album, Danger, for certain photographers, Jamie Spears, Brian Spears. There are so many exclusives that Breathe Heavy airs on their website.
So Robin Hood, love you, is saying Jordan was not sued, just threatened. Okay, so I don't want to say he was sued if he wasn't sued. I thought that he was sued. Maybe he was just threatened and they came to some kind of settlement before that.
I believe. Oh, no, it was. I'm sorry. I apologize. It was Anthony. So Anthony was sued, and Jordan was basically threatened. That's when they reached the agreement. That way, as a settlement. But anyways, so Jordan, I sent Jordan a private message on Breathe Heavy, and I asked him directly. I said, I have seen information that points to you reaching an agreement with Britney's team, and I wanted to know what you thought about this. And he said, no, that's not true at all. That's completely lie, whatever. And I was like, okay. I responded. I said, I just wanted to give you a chance to speak for yourself. And then the next couple of days went downhill when my thread was locked and I was hearing from a bunch of people that there were certain things being disputed and deleted by him and argued by him, along with all of the exclusives that I had seen and the excerpt from the agreement that I had seen. I was like, I can't allow this. I felt so infuriated. I was like, I can't allow this sort of behavior to continue, because this is someone who has basically built their entire career and their platform off of Britney and put their own personal interests over her well-being personally, allegedly. So not only that, but he also did, I don't know if you know this, but he partnered with The Zone. He partnered officially with The Zone with his website, Breathe Heavy. So The Zone Museum, which Britney has obviously not wanted any part of and has said, like, she didn't want any sort of, connection with it. It wasn't something that she wanted to do.
Hey, have you been keeping up with the Britney leaks?
What Britney leaks?
One about The Zone came out today.
Oh, the one where she was like, where they paid her $1 million, or they were going to pay her $1 million to attend, and she, well, that's what I'm saying is like,
well, it doesn't explicitly like to be 100%. It doesn't explicitly say they were going to give Britney the money, right? It just says The Zone had forwarded us, and the assumption is they were going to give it to her. But when you think about the logistics, she can't spend it. They're going to put it right in that estate and keep on cycling it through whatever they're doing. So, yeah, and he said, like, we had to return an advance given to us. Well, what does that mean? They made a promise that Britney was going to do something, and then Britney said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's like, you can't sit there and say, hey, do you want to do this? And then she says no, and they're like, okay, well, you're going to do it. Then they tell her that they've signed this agreement that she's going to do it. And then the day of the event comes and she says, I'm not doing this. I told you I don't want to. You can't say that the person is like, it shows their mental deterioration. You can't say that, because at that point, you made an agreement on someone else's behalf that they told you they didn't want to uphold. You can't just threaten them with the fact that it was a legal contract and then like be like, here you go, you have to do it. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
I don't think they are even threatened. I mean, who knows what they threatened her with. But they're now using that information, according to this leak document or leak excerpt, that they're using this information to show that Britney is not getting better under this conservatorship. And it's like, imagine, like, me and you, like, don't want to go do something one day that our daddy or mommy wants us to do, and we're in court fighting about it the next month.
It's so irritating. Not only that, but also I had a lot of fan reports that The Zone was very kind of creepy. It was very kind of off. It just seemed very empty.
Oh, you want to know about The Zone, and you probably already follow this account, but for everyone watching, Jake, his handle is The Bronx, BRONX Jew. That's his handle, The Bronx Jew, no like spaces, anything. You will find so much information on The Zone if like you're interested in that. He has so much information, like all the people are somehow tied together in these other weird entities. And there's like, they didn't give fans their money back when they couldn't go there because of coronavirus. Like, still.
Well, yeah, they paid like influencers like Lauren Gray. Like, they paid these TikTokers and influencers to go to the Zone and take pictures there. Yeah. And I thought it was really, they did. Like, Lauren Gray has a picture on her account. Like, Britney's account follows Lauren Gray solely for the purpose of the fact that she went to the Zone Museum. But like, imagine like taking an artist's like clothes and then putting them on display without their consent. That's just really weird to me. I understand so many artists and famous people, they keep archives of famous clothes that they've worn.
So the directors or the owners or creative whatever of the zone have alleged that Britney gave permission to use her clothes. Do you believe that?
I mean, what does Britney mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, what does
No.
that mean?
And yeah, I mean, did the estate or did Britney
All
Jean?
I'm going to say is that even with famous people interacting with famous people or big businesses interacting with famous people, there's usually a mediator. So it's usually a representative for that person and a representative for that business that is making the agreements. That's all I'm going to say. And in a situation like that where Britney is not performing, there's no reason for her to be involved. We've actually seen in the I Am Britney Jean documentary that even when it comes to her performing, they have complete board meetings about what she's going to do, when she's going to do it, and how she's going to do it without her being there.
I
So
did that. And like, you know, I don't know Britney Spears. I will never know her, right? But I can speculate from what I can see that she loves her children a lot. And that is her number one
priority.
and the thing she thinks is the most important. And watching them sit around that table and Jamie Spears just lean back against that with that hat and going, well, I'll take care of the kids. That's her weekend with the kids. I'll take care of the kids. Like, she's not even in that room. You're agreeing not only to take away her kids so that she can work, but 5 seconds later, someone says, well, isn't that her birthday? And then here come Robin. She's going to work on her birthday. Like,
It's just irritating, and it honestly just makes me sick, and I just feel grossed out. I don't know. I think that
it's
her priority is obviously her children, and I think that here's this thing. I said this last night to my mom. We were talking about it briefly, and I said, you know, maybe Britney wouldn't have this like carnal, intense desire to spend time with her children and just be a parent and just do nothing else than that if she were given the option to have a balance between her personal life and her professional life. If she hadn't been forced to be a show pony for 12 years straight, maybe if it said the same thing about the conservatorship, maybe if she'd been allowed to have, you know, to wean her back onto having certain responsibilities, being able to drive, being able to make some sort of payments or financial decisions, things like that. Maybe if she had been given those responsibilities or had been given the opportunity to spend time with her children and take breaks, she wouldn't feel this need to completely throw this other aspect of her life away and just do this personal thing. Do you get what I mean? She hasn't been given the opportunity to do these things. There's no balance. So they're like completely and totally like, oh my God, I can't believe why is she not wanting to work? That's insane. Well, maybe it's because she hasn't been allowed to do anything but that for the last 12 years. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I actually have I went to the questions. So I'm going to take these last questions here and then we're going to go about our day or night or whatever. But someone asked, official Nigel Walker, do you think her refusal to work is because she wants out and she will work again on her own terms? Or does she really want to retire? And I think what I would say is because of these circumstances, she probably just wants to be done. But if everything was perfect, she probably would have liked to enjoy to keep doing more. What do you think?
I have this question a lot. It's like, oh my God, do you think like when Britney's free, she'll like make music? No, I don't think at first at all she'll want to do anything. But first of all, she's going to need a lot of help because she's going to have to learn how to take care of her life again because she's not she hasn't been able to been given those opportunities in any capacity for the last 12 years. And B, she's going to need a lot of therapy, a lot of treatment to help counteract.
She's just going to need some alone time because any human who's been on surveillance for 24/7 for any amount of time, much less over a decade, might just want to like chill out. Like,
no, and I get that. I just mean before she's able to do any sort of public appearances like that again, she's going to have to deal with the sort of trauma that she's experienced for the last 12 years. And I think that she'll actually need real treatment, not sitting there saying we're treating her, you know, but then over medicating her for their own benefit and institutionalizing her in a hospital. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. And I think that maybe after, it would be years, I think, before we would get a new album, if at all.
So I'm like, not like I didn't come in through the movement as like a fan or a stan. I know like, I probably could name like 3 of Britney's albums, maybe. Like, don't come for me. I know I'm sorry. Like, I definitely think she's adorable. Love her. But yeah, for me, it's kind of like, I don't even think about that question. Like, is Britney gonna perform again or is she gonna, I don't know. Like, I don't even think about it. And so it is interesting to hear from people who like you have followed her since you were like 10 years old to kind of to weigh in. That's really helpful because like I don't know, like I think probably not, just because I'm thinking about it from a human being.
Well, it's none of our business. Do you know what I mean?
Also, like who like I'm not trying to say who cares, like don't ask a stupid question. I think it's a fine question. I chose it to ask and I wanted to talk about it, but I don't really know. I think like it's reasonable that she really retires, but I don't know, maybe she'll come back and do something else on her own terms. I do think in a way that could be therapeutic depending on what she decides, but ultimately I just want her to do what decides. So we have one more question. I think it's a good one to end on. Do you think the conservatorship will end soon? Do you think it'll end at all? What are your thoughts on kind of once we're at this point in the movement?
At one point, I had intel that there would be a lot of freedom that she would be getting in the next few months, and that was before the hearing was postponed, which was something that none of us could have accounted for. And I personally cannot say that the conservatorship will end soon, but what I can say is that she will be getting some sort of freedom in the next few months and the next year. And it won't necessarily be everything that we need, but here's my theory. We know she's filed to have Jamie Spears removed as her conservator. And we know that she would prefer a firm to take care of her finances.
Filed to have him removed yet. What she filed was
I thought it was to have another
personal conservator, and she filed a number of Bessemer Trust to be a conservator.
But wouldn't that remove him from her finances because I thought that's what they would be appointed over.
What would happen is they would be, as we sit right now, if they granted Britney's, what would happen is Bessemer Trust would end up being a co-conservator with Jamie Spears. And then once Bessemer's in, they're going to have to do a whole nother thing to get Jamie out.
And that would be a completely separate process. But what I was going to say is that I think as soon as she's able to remove basically the bad apple, as soon as she's able to get this, this negative part out of everything, I think that the first thing that she's going to try to do as soon as it makes sense for her is to be able to file for termination. That's what I think. I think that would be the next, I think that's what her next move would be. Because I think that the biggest thing that's keeping her from being able to do that is the influence and the authority of the people who are her conservators currently. I definitely am not a huge fan of Jody Montgomery.
It's not. It is the influence and authority. Absolutely. And something that's going to make it even harder for Britney, and something I mentioned last night to Timo Spears, was who has Britney's money? Them. Do you think they're about to let her start writing checks to attorneys to litigate against Jamie Spears? They're not. So she needs money to fight him. And she doesn't even have access to her own money right now. And a lot of people have been saying, people who do like Lynn Spears a lot have been saying, that's the reason Lynn hasn't done anything. She doesn't have money. And it's like, why do you think she's Roden and Fields? Because she doesn't have money. Like, she doesn't have money to fight these powerful LA lawyers. And I think that's a compelling argument.
I agree. I just think that as soon as Britney's able to, I think that the first logical step is what she's doing now, which is trying to appoint someone else so that someone else has an opinion and someone else has an influence that is unbiased, in the sense that that person has no personal connection to her and has not been around her for any sense of time. And
how shady Sam Ingham, because you read this document when he was like, what they're asking the court to do is decide between a semi-retired attorney who has a lot of familiarity with this case and an actual reputable financial firm or whatever.
Exactly.
I was like,
and it's true. And it's true. I think that would be the first step. And then as soon as she's able to somehow get some sort of somebody on her side, the first thing she's going to do is file for termination. I think she can't right now. It doesn't make sense. She would completely and totally fail if she tried to file for termination right now. It just wouldn't happen because of everything, all the cards that are stacked against her. So that's my personal opinion. And then I think that once she's able to get some sort of privilege back, because once again, didn't she file a request to have control over who she's hiring?
Second, Free Britney 11 said Lindsay Lohan is helping the hashtag Free Britney. Helping hashtag Free Britney. Just gonna throw this here. Excuse me, you can't come through here just throwing things here. Come back, Britney 11. Lindsay Lohan is helping
financially.
How? What do you mean?
First of all, if anything, she should be contributing financially, because her speaking out about it is not helping. Because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But if she's speaking out about it, she's not the most reputable source. She's not someone that's going to be taken seriously by the media. If the media looks for
I would except for the fact that Lindsay Lohan has experience with Lou Taylor.
That's the only thing. But all I'm saying is that she has been known to have extreme mental health issues, and the first thing the media likes to do is take people like that and destroy their credibility. So I'm not saying that I'm not appreciative of it if she were. All I'm saying is that it would be so easy to just be like, you know, you're sick, you don't know what you're talking about, because you're saying she has experience with Lou, but so does Britney. Why is Britney
like a pattern, right? Like, what do we have in common? Courtney Love, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears. I won't use the word victim, but like, you know, people that are not considered to be credible by the media, people who have been torn down repeatedly, people who have had their mental health used against them. So it's like,
because they're easy to control.
She doesn't have the general public's respect, is what Brand said.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, really ever, like, fully in, like, teenager pop culture. I, like, had other things going on. So, like, what I know from Lindsay Lohan is, like, Disney Channel original movies and Freaky Friday. Like, I follow her, like, mental health thing through the press. So I really don't have a lot of insight on that. So I didn't experience, you know what I mean?
Also, allegedly, Lindsay Lohan is broke right now. So I don't know. She's been having a lot of financial, like, debt problems recently. So I don't know.
In any litigation then.
So I was just saying, I don't know how much of that is true, but I just have an issue with, I think Britney file a request to have control over hiring people professionally? Isn't it one of the things that was included in what she was filing? So
she filed that request to allow Bessemer Trust Company to be able to do that, which presumably they would actually kind of listen to her, whereas her dad does not, according to her. Somebody said, DJ, when you graduate, we'll do a GoFundMe and we'll hire you. That is very nice. Thank you for the job offer. However, let the record reflect, I graduated. I already JD. I am studying for the bar, but I do love you very much for offering to hire me, and I will probably be needing a job one day.
You can represent me.
Oh, thank you. So we have 4 minutes left. Anything else you wanna add? Anything that we didn't go over? You want the world to know? You want my followers to know?
This might seem selfish, but I just wanted to say about me personally that I think that there have been a lot of misconceptions about me and my perspective on things and my intentions when it comes to talking about Free Britney. And I just wanted to clear that up really quickly. I'm struggling a lot. Like, I'm going through a lot right now, and a lot of it has to do with the result of me talking about this issue. It's not convenient for me to talk about. It doesn't benefit me to talk about this issue. If anything, it makes my mental health worse. It affects it in a negative way. But I do it because it's my obligation, my responsibility to this person who has had her voice taken away. And I need help. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here with a largely successful social media standing in a platform where I'm beloved by others and people love me. I've actually experienced that people only want to hear from me information, and when I'm not giving that, they don't just not respond to that, but they go out of their way to leave cruel and disrespectful comments about me personally, about my abilities. And it's very difficult for me to open the TikTok app and I'm losing hundreds of followers every single day. And I just dipped under 125,000 followers right when I made a video that I was going to post about saying thank you for that, for 125. And it's just really difficult for me to go and post about something that's not related to this issue and have no one care. And it has jeopardized, along with the public appearances I've chosen to make in support of this movement, it has jeopardized my future as an entertainer and as an influencer or any sort of public figure, because it has put me in a box that I did not sign up for. And so it may seem selfish to put it in that perspective, but that's what I'm going through right now. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is to not come across as a victim, but to express that I don't do this for clout. I don't do this for attention. I don't do this because I want people to like what I do or like me, or because I just want to profit off of this issue and exploit her problems. It's not that at all, because if that was the case, I wouldn't talk about this issue anymore. I would completely disappear off the face of the earth and then come back talking about something completely different. It doesn't benefit me to talk about this. So I just wanted to make that completely and totally obvious, because it's just really difficult to feel like no one cares about you as a person. And then going to the degree of threatening me and things like that is just really, really hard. So I just wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that I've enjoyed speaking to you so much. It's so much fun. I'm finally glad that we were able to kind of like talk and interact and actually speak personally.
My longest live ever, if you add the two together. Last night was the longest ever, and then I just surpassed it by like 30 minutes. But I do want to just quickly comment on what you said. I think it's important that you bring that up, and I also want to just say that I appreciate your vulnerability, and frankly your whole entire generation's vulnerability, because I see in y'all, you know, that you're not afraid to kind of take issues of mental health and sort of bullying and stuff by the horns, call it what it is. And it really is very unfortunate that, again, that you're going, you know, and have gone through. And I really don't have any feel better, and I'm not really trying to, but I do
No, of
want
course.
to know that it is because of your advocacy that I am a, because I don't know if I would have had, basically watching that video of having Britney Spears like whole rights taken away, and the way that you put it made me say, I gotta check this out. I got to see. It made me go log into a database. It made me print out with my own paper documents during studying for the bar exam. So I know that doesn't make anything that anyone has said to you better, and I'm not intending to, but I do want to let you know that I am not the only person movement, because we randomly stumbled across your TikTok, right? Or whatever, it made its way to Instagram. You have made a massive difference in this movement. And to the extent that anyone tries to tell you that you have not, that is just not facts. And we care about facts on the channel. So that's that, you know. And to reach out to me about whatever. Like, I'm from a small town. I, you know, understand not everything, of course, but, you know, I grew up in a little bit of a different generation. You know, Facebook was just rolling around when I was about your age. So it's not the same, but I am from a small town, and I got out. I went to a really good school. I chased my dreams. I did my whatever. And I want to encourage you and anyone else who's feeling like Mars, maybe not everybody, but, you know, but to reach out to me, and, you know, to the extent that I can be, you know, helpful or useful, because I think that you have really brought a lot of positivity into my life. You said it yourself. This has given me the ability to do something fun and connect with people and help move a movement along. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I really, I want to return, you know, some of the joy that you have allowed me to experience.
Well, I'm very, very appreciative of that. Thank you. I just, you know, I'm just doing my best. That's all I can really say is I'm doing my best, and I'm just trying to, honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, I'm just trying to rebrand myself right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be able to talk about what's going on, but be able to make sure that I can do other things and support myself going forward. And so I just have been really focusing on that and my own mental health, and that's all that I can do. And that's why I think partially this is so important to me, because I understand how horribly mental health can affect you and others around you. So I'm just very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak today, because you may think that your platform is not as big as mine, but you are equally as influential and if not more important and vital to this movement than I have been. So I'm very, very appreciative for you and all that you do. And if you ever have any questions about anything when it comes to social media, or need any help or anything at all, please, please, please feel free to let me know. What'd you say?
Or where to get my forehead done.
Or where to get your forehead done. Me too, girl.
Okay, well, we have 48 seconds left. This has really been a pleasure. I'm so happy we were able to do this. And I hope that you go have a restful and peaceful night of joy and laughter and happiness.
And eating. I'm going to eat a lot. Yeah. But anyways, I will see you later, okay? I hope you have a great night, okay?
Good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Sticking around this long.